Hey, what's up guys? I'm Sal. Thanks for checking out the video. About a month ago, I put a catalytic converter back onto my 1992 Nissan 240SX. I've had the car for 3 years, and in my ownership, I've never had a cat on the car. And it sounds great, but I'm not pushing big power, and the fumes that come into the cabin were just way too much for me. I had to mix it up, and I had to throw a cat back on the car. So overall, I'm really happy with how it sounds and how it's performing and everything, but we'll start with some sound clips for you, and then we'll get back in the car and give you kind of my driving impression. So let's get into it.
Okay, real quick before we get to the sound clips, I just wanted to show you what I actually put on the car. So on the left you could see the catless test pipe, and then on the right here is the Injuku Racing high flow cat made by Magnaflow. It's actually a really good quality piece. I was pretty impressed. But before we throw it on, you gotta do the obligatory open downpipe engine start. So yeah, pretty terrible, but come on, you gotta do it. But throwing the cat on next, super easy. You're just swapping one thing for another. Bolted right up. The kit came with all new bolts and gaskets and everything, which was really nice. You saw there's a bit of a gap I had to close, just the way that the exhaust was hanging, but everything just fit right up, no problem. Especially when you got a good helper like Oakley, who was visiting for the holidays. Next up, the sound clips.
so sounds pretty good. I'm really happy with it. Like I said, I've had it on for about a month now, and I really didn't notice a huge difference in the sound from before the cat to after having the cat, which is good because I really like how this car sounds. I didn't want it to be too quiet. I'm not one of those people who need it to be, you know, as loud as it could possibly be. That's just not me. But this is my fun car, and I'd like for it to be, you know, engaging and fun to have and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, big thing for me was the fumes. It doesn't smell anymore in here. Before, you needed to have the windows down in order to enjoy a drive, but now you can drive with the windows up and not get kind of gassed out, which is I appreciate, and I know my wife appreciates it too. But as you can hear, the car still sounds really good. This exhaust system as it was kind of tame, so this isn't, like I mentioned, nothing crazy here, but I found that after putting the cat on, it sounded a little bit more restrained, as you would expect, adding in, you know, just one more buffer for the exhaust to have to go through. But really, it almost felt like it smoothed out the exhaust noise. You can probably hear in some of the clips from my driveway, the pre-cat, or the exhaust without the cat in it, it was very burbly, and it almost kind of sounded like there was an exhaust leak. It kind of had that sort of sound to it. But now with the cat, it just sounds smooth, which I personally think sounds a lot better. Yeah, there's something cool about the rawness of having the catless test pipe down there. But again, it's all going to be personal preference, whatever you think sounds best for your car. But for me, I'm pretty happy with having this cat in here. Yeah, it's funny driving this car. I've been driving the Audi. If you haven't seen that video yet, I have a new daily driver. It's an Audi A4 with a manual, and that car, the stick and clutch pedal are very different from this car. The clutch engages at a very different spot. The shifter is a lot, it's OEM, so it's a lot longer throws. It's really, it feels almost like a video game shifter, as opposed to like this is so notchy and so tight. It's just very different. So it's funny driving that every day, coming to this car, it's like relearning how to drive stick all over again. I almost stall it because this car engages right in the very first inch of pedal travel. Like as soon as you start moving your foot, you're moving. Whereas on the Audi, it engages at the very top of the pedal travel. So you got like, you know, probably 3 inches of moving your foot back before the car even starts rolling. When I test drove it, I was like, is the clutch pedal like not touching anything? But that's just how it is, I guess. I looked it up. I guess most of the Volkswagen Audi cars are kind of that way, where it grabs up top. But it's just funny coming back to this car. I gotta like relearn how to drive, and I'm very kind of bucking when I get started at red lights, which you'll see here in a second. Because it's just kind of funny, yeah, having to adapt to the two different types of transmissions and clutches. But yeah, I mean, I freaking love this car. It the sounds, the way it drives, just everything about it is kind of what I was hoping for in a car like this. I love the idea of just having like a fun weekend car. That's the only time I drive this. Today's Friday, it's a weekend, and I'm just enjoying the sounds. It's man, it's a good day to drive a nice turbo car. It's cold out, so it's got, you know, the power, and man, I freaking love this car. Thinking about the future for this car, I mean, not much. I think the biggest things are cosmetic. It needs body work and it needs paint work. And the big body work it needs are, the fenders are kind of crunched in the front, and then it has some rust where the roof meets the windshield, and that causes it to leak. So I can't drive this car every day. It leaks water when it rains, and it's actually really quick. Me and my brother had to drive the car in the rain, and I was not even to the end of my street before water started coming in through the roof. So I was like, wow, I didn't realize how bad this was. Thankfully the car is garage kept and only comes out on nice days, but yeah, it was kind of a shock. So that needs to be addressed. Whole car needs to be, you know, dealt with, you know, bodywork, paint, all that sort of stuff. But in here, it's great. Like, I wouldn't want to change much in here. I wouldn't want to change much about the engine. I'd love to do a transmission refresh, just kind of getting it back to its former glory. There's nothing wrong with it. Obviously, I'm driving, but you can hear there's a lot of transmission whine in every gear except for fourth gear. I'm not sure why, but you can hear. It's just kind of annoying. Watch, I'll give some distance here to this car. When I go into fourth gear, the whining goes completely away. So I don't think it's clutch related. I think it's gear set related. So I don't know about replacing gears. This would be something I'd bring it to a transmission shop for. I don't necessarily feel comfortable digging into a transmission on my own. It's just, I don't know. I got a lot of other stuff on my plate. Also, going into first gear, the car doesn't always like to do it. Strong though. Pull strong, sounds good. Can't argue with it. This car's freaking awesome. But anyways, going back to it, transmission, first gear sometimes has trouble going in, and then the whine kind of makes me think that you know, something might be going bad in there. Also, you can hear that probably through the camera when I push the clutch in. I think that's the throw-up bearing. So really, we need to take the engine off, or the transmission off, and do the rear main seal, do the throw-up bearing, do a full transmission refresh, and then I think the car would feel a lot better. It would just feel, you know, fresh in there, and wouldn't have that terrible throw-up bearing sound. But for now, everything just seems to be working fine, and I'm just gonna keep enjoying it. Try to get you a little bit of noise with the window down. It makes an incredible difference. But hey, thank you guys so much for coming around today. Hopefully the video helped you out, just kind of giving you an idea of the comparison of a before and after adding a catalytic converter to your exhaust. In my opinion, it doesn't take that much away from it. I don't know about the performance benefits to not having a cat or whatever, but in my personal opinion, just kind of go for it. I couldn't live with the exhaust fumes hanging out in the car anymore. So yeah, with that, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and have a great rest of your day.